I'm not sure if he's gonna update the order, but they're not gonna post the order right now. Usually they do like 1, 2, 3, 4 orders, so. You just put in the order, you try to go first. It looks like he has your attorney matter down at the bottom, so I don't know if you want to sit with your client.
Oh,
Looks like
well, I already
it's all
talked to
towards
him.
the end.
okay. April Chavez Lopez, and then third is Christopher Alexander. All right.
Where is the attorney on?
Right here.
No, which number?
Number 13.
All right, okay. You can be seated. Okay, this is the 8 p.m. initial appearance docket. I'm going to call you all in here individually, tell you why you're here. There's a lectern in the center of the room. Stand behind that, give me your full name and date of birth. I'll be giving you important information about your case you need to take with you. You don't have to try to memorize what I tell you, because before you leave the area, you'll receive a printed copy of a document that contains all the important information concerning your case to take with you. If you're someone who's here in a probation violation matter that will be heard in Maricopa County Superior Court, the Public Defender's Office is appointed to represent you at this time, so you'll have counsel at your next court appearance. There we go. If you're someone who is released, you need to make sure that you review the conditions that may be contained in your release order and comply with them. For example, if they include not returning to the scene of the alleged crime or having contact with alleged victims or witnesses, and you violate those conditions and you're taken into custody for that reason, you will not be released from custody easily again. All right, we will start. Hold on, let me get my docket here. This will be Ryland Dutra, and then it will be Gabriel Chavez. Full name, date of birth, please.
Ryland Dutra, 09/20/1993.
All right, Mr. Dutra, you were arrested yesterday, charged with possession of narcotic drugs, a class 4 felony, and possession of drug paraphernalia. It should have been a class 6 felony. Public Defender's Office appointed to represent you. Your problem is this. In Arizona, if you were arrested, charged with a felony, and released, which you were as of yesterday, and while you were on that release, you were arrested and charged with committing a new felony, you're not entitled to have a bond set. You'll be held without bond at least until your next court date, which will be March 13th at 8:30 in Superior Court in downtown Phoenix.
Your Honor.
Yes, now you've got a very compelling story, I'm sure, but if you were arrested, charged with a felony, and released, did that happen? Yes or no?
A year ago. Yes.
All right, now, and you were arrested yesterday and charged with committing a new felony, and that's why you're here tonight, right? Okay, once those facts exist, I don't have any discretion. The law says I cannot release you. I cannot set a bond. Now, you tell me why you think your situation is different.
I was just going to speak about the program that I was released into after last year's situation.
Well, listen, I hope you get back into it. I hope it is successful. But our legislature got tired of people being arrested, released, released. Their simple solution was, when you're arrested and released and you get arrested again, you're not entitled to be released.
Yes, sir.
All right, there you go. Now, you have an attorney. I think I appointed counsel for you in this case. Talk to your attorney about it, but I don't have any discretion. All right? All right, Gabriel Chavez, and then it'll be Christopher Alexander. Full name, date of birth?
Gabriel Chavez Lopez Antonio, 7/1901.
All right, Mr. Chavez, you were arrested earlier today, charged with possession of narcotic drugs, a Class 4 felony, and possession of the weapon in the commission of a drug offense, a Class 4 felony. I appoint the Public Defender's Office. Your situation is the same as the previous defendants. You were released on January 24th on the felony of unlawful flight from law enforcement in a motor vehicle, a Class 5 felony, and you were arrested earlier today and charged with possession of narcotic drugs, a Class 4 felony, and possession of a weapon in the commission of a drug offense, a Class 4 felony. I appoint Public Defender's Office to represent you. Because you were on felony release, you will be held without bond. Your next court date will be March 13th at 8:30. All right? Let me get... Counsel, I'll get to you in just a few minutes here. Christopher Alexander, then it'll be Joshua King. Christopher Alexander. Alexander King, or Joshua King, actually. I'll take you after this next case, counsel. Did you find anybody? I'm going to take, well, I'm waiting here. Let me get down to where we were. Omega McDaniels. Full name, date of birth, please.
Omega McDaniels, 02/15/2004.
Okay, present with counsel.
Yes, good evening, Your Honor. Brad Smith for Mr. McDaniels.
All right. Mr. McDaniels, you were arrested earlier today, charged with possession of possessing a prohibited weapon style in a Class 4 felony, disorderly conduct with a weapon, a Class 6 felony, and possession of a deadly or defaced weapon, a Class 6 felony. The county attorney's office, does the county attorney's office know counsel was appearing?
Yes, Your Honor, stated present.
Okay. You have a position concerning, I didn't realize that you were on the line. You have a position concerning any release conditions for Mr. McDaniels.
Yes, Your Honor. Well, did Your Honor find probable cause?
Tell me why you think there isn't.
The state believes there is probable cause.
Pardon me?
The state believes that there is probable cause.
All right.
The defense believes.
Okay, you'll have an opportunity, just a minute.
Yeah.
Well, let me hear the defense argument first. I've read I read probably before I took the bench about 20 Form 4s. I don't have a specific recollection of Mr. McDaniels, but counsel, go ahead and tell me if that's your position, that there's no the Form 4 doesn't state probable cause. Go ahead.
So, Your Honor, I do stipulate that there is probable cause for the Class 6 disorderly conduct. He admits it's his gun. Gun is the same caliber as casings that are found at the scene. I think that establishes probable cause. However, there is no probable cause for the Class 4 or the Class 6 defaced weapon. The Form 4 says, quote, due to Omega owning the vehicle and being responsible for the contents of the vehicle, he was charged with the class 4 transporting a defaced weapon. Well, that's not the state of the law, Your Honor. It's just because it's in his vehicle does not make him therefore responsible, particularly when there's multiple other people in the vehicle. There has to be some showing of knowledge in order to establish a constructive possession. You can't just say it's in the vehicle, therefore he's responsible. There's got to be possession. And so there's none of that in the Form 4. Nothing ties it to Mr. McDaniels. So the class 4 and the second class 6, there's no probable cause for.
All right, Ms. Stetson?
Yes, Your Honor. There's no indication that the other individuals were actually in the car. When law enforcement arrived, all the individuals were standing outside of the car. So there's nothing to say that the other individuals were in the car, Your Honor. The car does belong to the suspect. The weapon the counsel speaking with, it does say in the Form 4 that the officer did attempt to do a record check on the firearm, but was unable to due to the firearm serial being defaced. Based on the state's reading of the Form 4, there's no indication that there was anyone else inside the vehicle other than the suspect who was identified as the driver. So state does believe that there is probable cause on both charges. Additionally, the other charge is a prohibited weapon. The state believes it was a Glock that had a switch installed on it, which then makes the firearm an automatic weapon. So, Your Honor, the state does believe that there is probable cause.
All right, thank you. Counsel, by the way, let me ask you, Ms. Stetson, does the county attorney's office have a position concerning any release conditions?
Yes, Your Honor, the state is requesting bail based on the fact that there was calls to 911 that the suspect, there was a firearm being shot fired off in the area. That is obviously a huge risk to the community, Your Honor. Additionally, Your Honor, the suspect is allegedly in possession of 2 weapons that are he's illegally possessing. Well, both he's illegally possessing because the firearm serial number was defaced. Additionally, Your Honor, the Glock switch is a prohibited weapon under the statute, based solely on the fact that the switch was installed. So, Your Honor, the state is asking for bond to be set in the amount of $25,000 secured. State is asking for, obviously, no possession of any firearms. Do not return to the scene of the location. No contact with witnesses or law enforcement involved in the case. And then the standard condition of no consume alcohol or use illegal substances.
Right,
thank you, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Smith, maybe I can save us some time here. I believe there is probable cause, but I'm going to follow the recommendation of the pretrial services. Your client doesn't have any criminal history. I'm going to release him on supervised release. And the arguments concerning lack of probable cause, you can make at the next court. His next court date will be March 21st at 8:30 in Superior Court in downtown Phoenix. And the supervised there'll be a number for the pretrial services on the documents, and within a few days of his release, he's to call and touch base with pretrial services. All right?
All right. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, we will, I think that he should have the release order already. Does he have it?
No.
Okay. Okay, after Mr. McDaniels, let me see where we were when we got kind of sidetracked here. I can't remember. Did you guys ever find anybody that I called, the two names I called? Who's that? Who do I just want to see the people that are next on the list that I called two names and nobody came in.
Okay, 1 second.
I can't remember where we stopped. We have like 40 or 50 different cases in here tonight.
Next is gonna be, Alexander.
It's gonna be who?
Number 1, Alexander.
Ah, there we go. Okay. Christopher Alexander. That, okay.
My apologies, number 18, King.
Is that, okay, which one are we on now?
Number 18, 19.
All right, full name, date of birth.
Joshua Lee King, August 29, 1991.
All right, Mr. King, you are here, on 3 separate cases. You were previously charged, and these are all in Peoria Municipal Court. You were charged with resisting arrest, a misdemeanor, urban camping, a misdemeanor. A hearing was set on the resisting arrest on March 6th, on the urban camping on September 25th. When you didn't appear, they issued a warrant for your arrest in each case with a $250 bond. Your next court date in these matters will be March 11th at 9 a.m. In Peoria Municipal Court. Then you're on probation also in Peoria Municipal Court. They contend you violated conditions of probation. And on September 25th, the warrant for your arrest was issued with a $250 bond. Also, your next court date in that matter will be March 11th at 9 a.m. also. So you got 3 cases, 3 times $250. All your court dates, next court day will be March 11th. All right, there you go. Go step right over there. Okay, where were we on that now? Okay, here we go. Brian Bonner or Bauer. Then it'll be Joshua Weibark. Full name, date of birth.
Brian Eugene Bauer, May 14th, 1989.
All right, Mr. Bauer, you are on felony probation in Pinal County Superior Court. They contend you violated conditions of probation, and they issued warrants for your arrest on March 4th. These are no bond warrants, which they can do on felony convictions. And I affirm what the judge, who knows more about your case in Pinal County than I do, I affirm the no bond hold on you. Your next court date will be in Pinal County Superior Court on March 12th at 8:30. And if you can't, you won't be able to bond out because there's no bond. And so the Pinal County Sheriff's Office will pick you up in time to make that hearing. All right?
Your Honor, I was in custody at that time.
And I don't know anything about that. You can
I've
tell.
been incarcerated since January 4th.
Okay, and I don't know anything about that. And you have an attorney, right? That represented you on some of these things. Well, the thing is, if you let somebody know about it, if that's the situation, so they can do something. But I don't know anything about the case except that you were picked up or taken into custody on this case. Warrants were issued on March 4th, no bond warrants. And I don't know anything more about you or your case. All right, there you go. All right, Joshua Weibark, and then it'll be Brian McDonough. Full name, date of birth?
1886. Josh Allen Weber.
All right, Mr. Weber, you are on felony probation, two separate felony convictions here in Maricopa County. They contend you violated conditions of probation. On January 29th, a warrant for your arrest was issued in each case with a $750 bond. Your next court date will be, in each of those cases, your revocation arraignment hearing, Superior Court, downtown Phoenix, on March 14th at 8:30. Brian McDonough, then it will be Kyle Leathers. 28, 29. Full name, date of birth?
Brian Christopher McDonough, November 29th, 1990.
All right, Mr. McDonough, you apparently are on felony probation in Maricopa County for two separate felony convictions. A warrant for your arrest was issued in each case for violating conditions of probation on February 27th. One had a $5,000 bond on the warrant, and the other had a $100 bond. Your next court date will be March 14th at 8:30 in Superior Court, downtown Phoenix. Kyle Leathers, and then it'll be Justin Butler. Full name, date of birth?
Kyle Young Leathers, 10/25/85.
All right, you, sir, are here because you were, let me get this stuff up in front of me. You were arrested earlier today, charged with possession of narcotic drugs, a class 4 felony, and possession of drug paraphernalia, class 6. I appoint the public defender's office to represent you. You also are on felony probation, two separate cases, and the probation department has requested that a hold be placed on you, well, because each of your arrest today constitutes a violation of the conditions of probation. I set a $250 bond in each case. That's a total of $750 on the new charge and on the two probation violation matters. Your next court date will be March 14th at 8:30. Justin Butler, then it'll be Nan Kauchak. Full name, date of birth, please.
Justin Butler, May 10th, 1988.
All right. Let me get. You were previously charged with possession of drug paraphernalia, class 6 felony, and 2 counts of possession of narcotic drugs, class 4 felonies.
Who, me?
You are Kauchak. No, you are. What's your last name?
Butler, B-U-T-L-E-R.
I apologize. I thought I was Kauchak. You're Brian. Are you Justin Elliott?
Yes.
Justin Elliott Butler,
Right.
and you are on felony probation. And a warrant for your arrest was issued for violating the conditions of probation on February 5th. It was a no bond warrant. So you'll be held without bond, at least until your next court date, which will be your revocation arraignment hearing on March 14th at 8:30. Now, Nan Kauchak, and then it will be Cullen Nelson. Full name, date of birth?
Nan Kochak, 6/14/97.
All right, ma'am, you're on felony probation here in Maricopa County. You were convicted of possession of drug paraphernalia and narcotic drugs. And on November 27th, actually, it's not on probation. These are new charges, and a status conference was scheduled on that date. When you didn't show up, they issued a warrant for your arrest with a $750 bond. Your next court date now will be March 13th at 8:30 in Superior Court in downtown Phoenix. And your order's right here. He's handing it to you. Cullen Nelson. And then it will be Kayla Wingo. Full name, date of birth?
Colin John Nelson, 4/23/96.
All right, Mr. Nelson. You were on felony probation in Maricopa County, and a revocation arraignment hearing was set on those two cases on November 1st of last year. When you didn't show up, they issued a warrant for your arrest with a $500 bond. Your next court date in those two matters will be March 14th at 8:30. You have a case pending, which is possession of narcotic drugs, class 4 felony, and a warrant for your arrest was issued when you didn't show up on November 12th with a $500 bond. Next court date will be March 13th at 8:30, Superior Court, downtown Phoenix. And then, let me see here, the reason you are here is because you were arrested yesterday, charged with possession of drug paraphernalia, a class 1 misdemeanor in this case, and failing to obey a police officer's instructions, a misdemeanor. I set a $500 bond in each of those two cases. Your next court date, well, on the your next court date on your new arrest will be in Kyrene Justice Court, and that will be, let me see here, that will be on March 12th at 8:30. And if you're in custody and there are any conflicts with dates, we will make sure that you don't get bench warranted anywhere. And sometimes that happens and it's no problem. We get them straightened out. All right, the order's right here.
Thank you.
Kayla Wingo, and then it'll be Jacob Hood. Full name, date of birth?
Kayla Nicole Wingo, 7/16/1989.
All right, Miss Wingo, you were arrested, let me see here, yesterday, charged with possession of drug, well, wait a minute, let me get the right case up here. There we go. Yesterday, charged with the following 3 offenses: aggravated assault causing serious injury, a class 3 felony, aggravated assault with a dangerous instrument, a class 3 felony, and misdemeanor assault. I appoint the public defender's office to represent you. I set bond in the amount of $2,500. Conditions of your release, should you bond out, are not to return to the scene of the alleged crime or have contact with alleged victims or witnesses. And if an order of protection is issued and you're served with a copy, you must comply with its terms. Your next court date will be March 13th at 8:30 in Superior Court, downtown Phoenix.
Your Honor, the place that it happened at, my husband doesn't live there. He was visiting me there. So he won't be there.
Well, okay, I don't know that, it doesn't tell me any of that information, then there wouldn't be a problem, but if you go back and there's a problem, and you get arrested, you'll have, I don't know how you're gonna explain that, all right?
Your Honor, the state is on the phone, on the line.
Oh, yes, all right, thank you, I apologize. I saw what your recommendation was. Please go ahead.
Your Honor, the state is asking for the bond to be set in the amount of $50,000 secured based on the allegations provided in the Form 4, Your Honor. It's alleged that the suspect stabbed the victim in the shoulder, Your Honor. He did require stitches. Also, Your Honor, this does appear to be a domestic violence case, as the suspect just indicated that the victim is her husband. The state also spoke with the primary officer on this, and he also indicated that this is a domestic violence situation. So at minimum, Your Honor, the state is also requesting, along with the bond, the electronic monitoring be set up before the suspect is released. Thank you.
All right. You know, I don't have a problem modifying this, but let me tell you, if what she told me is correct, That is it your residence primarily? Is that it?
He doesn't live there. We don't live together.
All
It's
right.
it's my
All
residence.
right.
that he
Well,
lives in.
and I will, I will take her word for that for the purposes of the conditions that I set. If he comes back and you can get an order of protection against him also, and from what I can see in this case. But I think you should make sure that you don't have any contact with him, and
Yes, sir.
and I don't know what else to tell you. I take your word for the fact that it is your residence, and I'm going to. The order will still state that you're not to go back there, but if nobody's there, I guess there isn't a problem. All right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Good luck.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Angel Luna, and then it'll be Jesse Garcia. Counsel, Ms. Stetson, are you still on the line for this?
Your Honor, I don't believe, let me pull him up. I don't believe I'm appearing on this one. No, Your Honor, the state isn't appearing on this. This is just a misdemeanor case.
Okay, but are there any other cases that you want to appear on, just so I don't?
Yes, Your Honor, state will be appearing on number 8, number 6, number 12.
All right.
I believe those are the 3 remaining cases that the state will be appearing on.
Okay, 8, 6, 12. Thank you.
Thank you.
Were you gonna modify number 2?
I was, I didn't, I know, and I should, let me go back and hit save. Oh, signature, there we go. All right, go ahead, Mr. Luna, full name, date of birth.
Angel Luna, January 12th, 1999.
All right, you, sir, were arrested yesterday, charged, well, let me get you down here, I'm not right on the, there we go. Yesterday charged with disorderly conduct by fighting a misdemeanor, criminal damage, by defacement of misdemeanor. I've appointed counsel at the next court appearance. I'm going to release you on your own recognizance to appear in Goodyear Municipal Court on March 26th at 1 p.m. Conditions of your release include not returning to the scene of the alleged crime or having contact with victims or witnesses. And if you're served with an order of protection, you must comply with its terms. You understand?
Yes, sir.
All right. We have your order right there. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm so sorry. For number 2.
Number 2, we didn't correct that? All right. All right, let me do it again. Let me see what did I do here. No, I didn't. It was a $2,500 bond.
Okay, you said you were gonna modify it.
No, what I was gonna, I was gonna take her word for the fact that it was her residence.
Okay, so good to go. I just wanted to check.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Where was I? Where was I? Now, Jesse Garcia. And then it will be Jacob Hood. Go ahead, Mr. Garcia. Full name, date of birth.
Jesse Garcia, and then 1/18/2000.
All right, you, sir, were arrested yesterday, charged with 1 count each of the following. Driving while under the influence, including extreme DUI, depending upon what the blood test shows, and violating an order of protection, which is a misdemeanor. Well, I'm just telling you, yeah, I didn't read the order itself, but it probably prohibited you from making any communications, and on your phone, they found evidence of your communicating with somebody you've been prohibited not to. Okay, well then, anyway, I'm I'm going to release you on your own recognizance to appear in Goodyear Municipal Court on March 26th at 10 o'clock. Conditions of your release are you're not to have, there has already been an order of protection issued, right? You've been served with a copy, correct? All right. You're not to have any contact with the alleged victim. You're not to contact her verbally or physically. You're not to go over to where the address is that you've been prohibited from going to. And I'm going to release you at this time because I don't know that there were any previous violations. But if there's another previous violation, you'll just probably have to post a good-sized bond to get out. All right? There you go. The order's right over here.
Thank you.
All right, Jacob Hood, and then it'll be Nicholas Egan. Full name, date of birth.
Jacob John Hood, May 20th, 1995.
All right, Mr. Hood, you were arrested yesterday, charged with misdemeanor assault and then a form of child abuse. It's a class 3 felony, and it was, in the officer's opinion, when you ran with the child in your arms, as described in the Form 4, that was a form of reckless behavior. Pretrial services says you're financially capable of hiring your own counsel. I set bond in the amount of, County Attorney, Ms. Stetson?
Yes, Your Honor.
This is one of the ones that, okay, this is one of the ones that you wanted to appear on.
Yes,
Go
Your
ahead.
Honor.
Yeah.
For the
Go
record,
ahead.
Ashley steps in on behalf of the state. Yes, Your Honor, this is a case where the suspect is alleged to have been in an argument initially with one of the victims. I believe this is the victim in the misdemeanor charge, Your Honor, who they are in a domestic relationship. They have a child in common, which is one of the victims, Your Honor. They were allegedly in an argument. There are additional victims, I believe, or no, witnesses, Your Honor. The suspect was chasing after the witnesses, the state believed, and based on the officer's investigation, Your Honor, the officer felt like the way that the suspect was chasing after the witnesses was concerning to the safety of the minor, who the officers refer to as a very young baby. The officers did say that, he was chasing after their vehicle and while holding the baby in his arms, which placed the baby in an imminent risk of physical injury. Based on that, Your Honor, that does cause the state concern. The state is asking for bond, Your Honor. In regard to conditions of release, the state is also asking for not to possess firearms, not to return to the incident location, no direct or indirect contact with the victims, no consume alcohol and or illegal substances. Additionally, Your Honor, this is a domestic violence case, which statutorily allows for electronic monitoring, so the state would be also asking for that. Thank you, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, what was the last part that you said?
Oh, sorry. This is a domestic violence case based on the relationship between the child and the other victim, Your Honor. So statutorily, the state is asking for electronic monitoring.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Garcia.
Mr. Hood.
Mr. Hood. Mr. Hood, I believe that there was at least probable cause for a threat to the child. I think it's something that if there was a serious problem with regard to your treatment of the child, I think that the mother has has sources available to make sure that this matter is treated in another way. I am going to set a $1,100 bond. Conditions of your release, if you bond out, are not to return to the scene of the alleged crime or have contact with victims or witnesses at this stage. As you leave here, if you bond out, in any subsequent court proceeding, any order that I enter can be modified for good reason. You're not to have any contact with the alleged witnesses or victims. And if an order of protection is issued and you're served with a copy, you must comply with its terms. You understand?
Yes, is there any way that I could be released to pretrial services? I've never missed a court date. I haven't been in trouble in a very long time. I want to be able to just go home, and I don't exactly have $1,100 to bond out.
You know, let me tell you, I think that one of the things I take into consideration sometimes in a case like this is if they feel that it's appropriate for you to be released, they can do that. And if they don't, they won't do anything that would assist you in being released. And if you're served with an order of protection, I think you know that you're not to go back there. And very likely it would have those terms. I'm going to keep the $1,100 bond in place at this stage, and I think that you are sufficiently. You have your job would allow you to retain counsel, and I don't know what else to say except that under the circumstances, I think it's appropriate that you be held at least until somebody in your family is willing to take responsibility for your being released, if that's a problem. All right. All right. There you go.
Thank you.
All right, Nicholas Egan, and then it'll be Omar Padron. Full name, date of birth. Full name, date of birth.
Nicholas John Egan, April 20th, 1986.
All right, you, sir, were arrested yesterday, charged with threatening and intimidating. That's a class 1 misdemeanor. I'm going to release you on your own recognizance to appear in Carefree Cave Creek Consolidated Court on March 26th at 9 a.m. You're not to return to the scene of the alleged crime or have contact with alleged victims or witnesses. And if an order of protection is issued and you're served with a copy, you must comply with its terms. You understand?
Yes, sir.
All right, there you go. Omar Padron, and then it'll be Alan Fair.
Hello.
Full name, date of birth?
Good evening. Omar Amparano Padron, 4/16/1993.
All right. You were arrested, and let me get this back up here.
Yes, sir.
Whoa. I'm down. I lost my.
That's gonna be.
Yeah, there we go. You were arrested yesterday, charged with aggravated driving while under the influence with a passenger under the age of 15. That's a felony.
Yes, sir.
2 counts of endangerment, felonies. 1 count, well, basically all the different ways you can be charged with driving while under the influence, and including driving with excessive speed in addition, at 20 miles over the speed limit.
Yes, sir.
All right, the Public Defender's Office appointed to represent you. Does the County Attorney's Office have a position concerning Mr. Padron's release?
Yes, Your Honor. The facts of this case, Your Honor, is that the suspect was alleged to be driving 113 miles an hour in a 65-mile-an-hour zone. He was changing lanes unsafely. Law enforcement did conduct a traffic stop. Upon a traffic stop, the officer noticed that the suspect had an odor of intoxicants coming from him and watery eyes. The suspect did do field sobriety test, Your Honor. He did fail the field sobriety test. Additionally, a PVT was done. The PVT was a .216. And he did come back to breath samples, which were a .174 and .171, which is mostly concerning, Your Honor, is that at the time that this was going on, Your Honor, the suspect had his, I believe, 9-year-old and 1-year-old child in the car with him. So there's obvious concerns with the safety to those minors. The state did staff this case with the on-call vehicular bureau for the Maricopa County Attorney's Office. The state isn't opposed to releasing the suspect to pretrial services with the condition that the suspect does not consume any alcohol and or drugs, and does and alcohol and drug monitoring are ordered, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Mr. Padron?
Yes, sir.
I am going to release you on your own recognizance to appear in Superior Court downtown Phoenix on March 21st at 8:30. I have had appointed the Public Defender's Office to represent you. I think you can sense from the county attorney's description of what it is that they are fearful about.
Yes, sir.
What they're concerned about with your behavior. I saw, looking at your record, I saw nothing of any sorts that you've been arrested for any alcohol-related offenses.
No, sir.
And if you are again, then they'll treat it appropriately.
Yes, sir.
All right. Go ahead.
This will, it's never gonna happen again.
All right. Well, I hope for your sake and everybody else's sake, it won't.
I appreciate you.
All right, Alan Fair, and then it will be David Lee. Full name, date of birth?
G2794, Alan Fair.
All right, you, sir, were arrested yesterday, charged with possession of dangerous drugs, a Class 4 felony, and obstructing a thoroughfare, a public highway, a thoroughfare, a misdemeanor, Class 2 misdemeanor, Public Defender's Office appointed to represent you. I am releasing you on your own recognizance to appear in Superior Court downtown Phoenix, March 21st at 8:30. There you go.
Thank you.
David Lee, and then it'll be Donnell Finley. Full name, date of birth, please.
David Lee, April 29, 2003.
All right, you, sir, were arrested earlier today, charged with criminal trespass, a Class 2 misdemeanor in this case. I am going to release you on your own recognizance to appear in University Lakes Justice Court on March 25th at 1:30. At that time, if you believe you should have an attorney appointed to represent you in this case, you can request the court consider that. All right. And you're not, conditions of your release include not going back to the location where this is alleged to have occurred or having any contact with the alleged victims.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Donnell Finley, and then it'll be Demetrius Shaw. Full name, date of birth?
Donnell Finley, 9/27/1973.
All right, you, sir, were arrested yesterday, charged with possession of narcotic drugs, a Class 4 felony. I appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you. I'm going to release you on your own on supervised release to appear in Superior Court March 21st at 8:30. In your release orders will be the phone number the paperwork. Did she receive the phone number for pretrial services? Within a few days of your release, call the number and touch base with them. They're expecting your recall, okay?
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Demetria Shaw, and then it'll be Joseph Jackson. Full name, date of birth?
Demetria Shaw, 06/01/2005.
All right, you, sir, were arrested yesterday, charged with aggravated assault causing serious injury, a Class 3 felony. The Public Defender's Office is appointed to represent you. Does the County Attorney's Office have a position concerning any release conditions from Mr. Shaw?
Yes, Your Honor. Ashley steps in for the state. The state is requesting that bond be set in the amount of $75,000 secured based on the allegations, Your Honor. It's alleged that the suspect punched and possibly kicked the victim in the head. The victim has cerebral palsy, Your Honor, making him a vulnerable adult. He is also legally blind. As a result of the actions of the suspect, the victim had a fractured skull, a brain bleed, and an injury to the ear that ultimately caused deafness in his right ear, Your Honor. The state did read the victim's impact statement that was provided to the court and state. Your Honor, these are very concerning allegations. An individual that is already vulnerable now has significant injuries as a result of the suspect's alleged actions, Your Honor. The state is asking for the defendant not to possess any firearms, not to return to the incident, electronic monitoring, no direct or indirect contact with the victims and or witnesses, and not to consume alcohol or use illegal substances, Your Honor. Again, the state is asking for a $75,000 secured bond. Thank you.
All right. Yes, Mr. Shaw, according to the part of the police report that I read concerning what the officers were told by doctors at the emergency room, there was a cracked skull, fractured skull. They believe that the victim will recover. It's non-life threatening, but without more, the police report concerning the alleged assault was kind of skimpy. I believe that under the circumstances, you may very well represent a threat to the community. If you are released, I'm setting bond in the amount of $25,000. You're not to return to the scene of the alleged crime or have contact with victims or the alleged victim or witnesses. Your next court date will be March 13th at 8:30 in Superior Court in downtown Phoenix. And your order is right over there. And that got modified.
Can you sign it? Does not have the modification.
Well, let me sign it. There we go.
And Your Honor, that concludes all the matters for the state.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Joseph Jackson.
Yes, sir.
And then it will be
Joseph Jackson.
Katisha Sosi. Full name, date of birth.
Again, Joseph Jackson, 10/14/80.
All right, Mr. Jackson, you were arrested yesterday, charged with aggravated assault causing serious physical injury. That's a Class 3 felony. Wait a minute, my screen didn't. You can put your eyebrows down now.
I'll put my hand up real quick.
Yeah, I didn't. You were arrested yesterday, charged with one count each of the following. A form of assault causing fear of injury in the victim, a Class 4 felony, obstruction by refusing to give correct name, and criminal trespass, a misdemeanor. The Public Defender's Office appointed to represent you. I'm just reading the charges, okay? All right. I can't change that, all right?
Right.
All right. Public Defender's Office appointed to represent you. I am releasing you on supervised release to appear in Superior Court downtown Phoenix on March 21st at 8:30. Conditions of your release include not returning to the scene of the alleged crime or having contact with alleged victims or witnesses. Any questions?
Can I get documented, like my injuries or no?
Well, you can, but at this stage of proceedings,
I was gonna say, do you have pictures of the?
I don't know what's available. Nothing, I don't believe that there's anything that you are expressing an interest in.
They would take
part of the Form
right?
4. They would be available to you if there were. You have an attorney appointed to represent you. Talk to your attorney about it. But what my primary function at this stage of proceedings is determine whether or not there's probable cause to believe an offense has been committed, and you committed it, and do you represent such a threat to the community based upon your behavior that a substantial bond should be set, and I didn't believe that. So that's why I'm releasing you on supervised release, and your paperwork, in the paperwork you get will be pretrial services phone number. Give them a call within a few days of your release. They're expecting that. Touch base with them. All right, there you go. Katisha Sosi, and then it'll be Michael Broder. Full name, date of birth, please.
Katisha Sosi, 11/01/01.
All right, ma'am. You were arrested earlier today, charged with 3 counts of disorderly conduct by fighting all misdemeanors. Pretrial services says that you are financially capable of hiring your own counsel. I'm going to release you on your own recognizance to appear in Peoria Municipal Court on March 27th at 9 a.m. You have absolutely no history of any sort that I could find from the material I'm provided. And so in a case like this, there's kind of a quandary for the person in my position. Should I prohibit you from returning, which is to the location where this occurred? Should I prohibit you from having any contact with these people, your family members? And I got the impression that this was an unusual circumstance, and that you don't present to them a threat of something like this happening in the future. And if you do, they could always get an order. They could always get an order of protection against you. And if they did, you'd have to comply with it. All right. And that's part of my order also, is if an order of protection is issued and you're served with a copy, you must comply with its terms. All right. And if that means not going back there or having contact with any of the alleged victims, you'll have to do that. You understand?
Yeah, this is my house.
Huh? It is your house?
Yeah, it's my house.
All right. But I will tell you that the incident that occurred trumps temporarily, at least, that your ownership. I mean, if you cause an offense in there and injure people, even if it's your house, at this stage of proceedings, you can be prohibited from going back there. That doesn't mean you lose ownership. But I mean, at this stage of proceedings, they're not expected to go out and scramble and try and find someplace else to live. If you did something that would that constitutes a serious offense, and you present a danger to them. All right.
All right.
All right. There you go. Your order's right over there.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Michael Broder, and then it will be Christopher Alexander. Full name, date of birth?
Michael Broder, August 23rd, 1983.
Let me see here. Where was I? I didn't bring my glasses today, so I'm kind of straining here. All right. You were arrested yesterday, charged with possession of dangerous drugs, a Class 4 felony, possession of narcotic drugs, a Class 4 felony, possession of drug paraphernalia, Class 6 felony. Pretrial services says that you're financially capable of hiring your own counsel. If that's not correct, you can request appointment of counsel any subsequent court proceeding. I'm going to release you on your own recognizance to appear in Superior Court downtown Phoenix on March 21st at 8:30. All right, there you go.
Thank you.
Christopher Alexander. Full name, date of birth?
Christopher Alexander, 10/31/84.
All right, Mr. Alexander, you're on felony probation here in Maricopa County. The probation department contends you violated your conditions of probation, and on February 10th, the warrant for your arrest was issued with a $100 bond. You may have heard me at the beginning of these proceedings tell everybody that if you're in a probation violation matter that occurred here in Maricopa County, public defender's office appointed to represent you. Your next court date will be March 14th at 8:30 in Superior Court in downtown Phoenix, and your order is right over there.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. We got house calls here. Joseph Hoffey, 21-22-31. Mr. Hoffey is on felony probation here in Maricopa County. On February 5th, a warrant for his arrest was issued with a $100 bond. His next court date in that matter will be his revocation arraignment hearing in Superior Court downtown Phoenix, March 14th at 8:30. He also, oh, come on, don't jump around like that, has a, where do we go here? A direct complaint filed by the county attorney's office charging him with burglary, a Class 4 felony, and shoplifting by concealment, a misdemeanor. This was issued on February 27th with a $1,500 bond. His next court date in that matter, God, get this stuff jump around, will be March 13th at 8:30, Superior Court downtown Phoenix, public defender's office appointed to represent him. And then the reason that he was here today is that he was arrested earlier today, charged with possession of drug paraphernalia, Class 6 felony. His next court date I set a $250 bond. His next court date, March 13th at 8:30, Superior Court downtown Phoenix. All right. Is that everybody?
There's number 34, Dakota Hunker.
Okay. Oh, there we go. Yes. Yes, Dakota Hunker is here because he was arrested yesterday and charged with giving false information to law enforcement, a misdemeanor, obstruction of the highway thoroughfare, a misdemeanor, and refusing to give correct name when instructed by law enforcement, a misdemeanor. He's being released on his own recognizance to appear in Highland Justice Court on March 27th at 9 a.m. Let me get those all listed here. Oh.